No oil, no peace, constant wars. So how did one of the most threatened countries on earth become one of the richest? Israel is surrounded by hostile neighbors, lacks natural resources, and has been in near constant conflict since its creation. And yet, today, it has one of the highest GDPs per capita in the world, dominates global tech markets, and produces more startups than almost any country on earth. So how did this happen? Was it strategy, luck, foreign money, or something far deeper? By the end of this video, you'll understand the real economic engine behind Israel's rise and why it completely changed the rules of survival. In 1948, Israel was born into chaos. It had no oil, no major natural resources, a tiny domestic market, a population made up largely of refugees, and immediate war with neighboring states. Economically, this is the exact formula for collapse. Most countries in this position rely on aid, extraction, or alliances just to survive. Israel did receive aid, but that alone does not explain what came next. Because for decades, Israel wasn't rich at all. In fact, during its early years, the country faced severe rationing, food shortages, hyperinflation, state-controlled industries that barely functioned. So what changed? The answer begins with necessity.
Israel didn't innovate because it wanted to be rich. It innovated because failure meant extinction. Surrounded by enemies, Israel had to defend itself with fewer people, produce more with less land, export value without relying on geography. This pressure created a national mindset: solve problems or disappear. Instead of investing in heavy industry or resource extraction, Israel made a radical bet early on: human capital over natural capital. Education became a national priority. Scientific research was treated as a strategic asset. Technology became a survival tool, not a luxury. And this mindset would later explode into something much bigger. Here's a controversial truth most people don't talk about. Israel's military didn't just defend the country. It trained its future entrepreneurs. Mandatory military service placed young Israelis into cybersecurity units, intelligence analysis, engineering divisions, advanced communication systems. Teenagers were given real responsibility, access to cutting-edge technology, pressure to innovate under extreme conditions. Failure wasn't theoretical, it had real consequences. After finishing service, many veterans left with technical expertise, leadership skills, tight professional networks, and the confidence to build companies fast. This created a direct pipeline from military problem-solving to startup innovation. By the early 1980s, Israel faced a disaster. Inflation spiraled out of control, reaching over 400% annually. Government spending was unsustainable. The economy was on the brink of collapse. This was the moment where many countries fail. Instead, Israel did something rare. It admitted the model was broken. In 1985, the government launched a brutal but effective economic stabilization plan. Massive spending cuts, currency reform, privatization of state industries, tight monetary policy. It was painful. Living standards dropped temporarily, but inflation collapsed, and stability returned. This created the foundation for foreign investment, private enterprise, and long-term growth. In the 1990s, Israel made one of the smartest economic moves in modern history. The government launched a program called Yozma. Instead of trying to pick winners, Israel used public money to attract private venture capital, took minority stakes in startups, allowed private investors to buy out the government later at a discount. This did two things: reduced risk for foreign investors. Point 1. Flooded the economy with startup funding. Point 2. Suddenly, Israel wasn't just innovating, it was commercializing innovation at scale. Silicon Valley noticed. Multinational corporations noticed. Money followed talent. and the startup ecosystem exploded. Then came another unexpected boost. In the 1990s, nearly 1 million immigrants from the former Soviet Union arrived in Israel. Many were engineers, scientists, doctors, mathematicians. Israel absorbed them into universities, research labs, and tech companies. Instead of creating unemployment, this wave supercharged productivity. Few countries in history have converted mass immigration into economic acceleration so efficiently. Despite regional hostility, Israel bypassed geography. It focused on exporting software instead of goods, selling intellectual property instead of raw materials, building partnerships with the US, Europe, and Asia. Tech doesn't need borders. Code doesn't care about neighbors. And innovation travels faster than tanks. By the 2000s, Israel had become a global leader in cybersecurity, a hub for medical technology, a center for fintech, and defense tech. Economic isolation was replaced with global integration. But this story isn't perfect, because growth came with consequences. Israel today faces extreme income inequality, high cost of living, housing shortages, dependence on a narrow tech sector, and security threats never disappeared. The question became, can an economy built under permanent pressure stay stable forever? The same forces that built Israel's wealth also created fragility. Innovation thrives on openness, global collaboration, political stability, yet prolonged conflict strains, government budgets, social cohesion, investor confidence. Israel's success depends on balancing security with openness, innovation with inclusion, growth with stability, and this balance is becoming harder to maintain. Here's the key realization. Israel didn't get rich despite being surrounded by enemies. It got rich because survival forced it to build an economy that couldn't afford to fail. Every policy decision, investment choice, and cultural shift revolved around one goal: never be vulnerable. That pressure forged one of the most resilient innovation systems on Earth. So how did Israel get so rich? Not through oil, not through peace, not through geography, but through radical investment in human capital, turning crisis into reform, engineering innovation at a national level, leveraging global markets instead of regional ones. Israel's economy is a case study in how constraint can outperform abundance. And whether you admire it or criticize it, one thing is undeniable: this was not accidental. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and check out the channel to find more amazing and new videos.